Okay, emergency video. We need to talk about the riots that have absolutely devastated the nation of France over the past few days. I'm going to tell you what's happening, really break down why it's happening, and give you my thoughts. But if you're totally unfamiliar, just to give you an idea of how crazy the situation is right now, I'm not going to play the videos. Some of you guys may have seen them. YouTube purposes, I can't really play them. But I will read you from the BBC just to give you an idea here. Quote, in one act of violence, just to give you an idea, in one act of violence, the home of a suburban Paris mayor was attacked, and rioters fired rockets at his fleeing wife and children, breaking her leg and injuring one of the children. The incident is being treated as an attempted murder. So long story short, it's getting pretty crazy in France. It's getting pretty, frankly, barbaric in France. French Revolution levels of craziness. I guess the question is, and the question that's on everyone's mind that doesn't really understand, what is going on in France that is actually causing all of this? That's what we're mainly going to talk about here today. Is it a revolution? Is it another French Revolution? In some ways, you could say it is, except the problem is it's not exactly the French people rising up against Macron or the EU or whatever people might think is going on here. In fact, as you will come to find out, many of the people who are rioting right now in France actually are not French at all. And we're going to talk about that in this video. But first, let's contextualize the situation, because you see these videos, you're probably asking the question, what actually happened in France to set this all off? Well, as if you're an American, I'm sure you might be familiar with, and you've deja vu, you've seen this before. As you can imagine, it all relates to a police shooting, specifically the police shooting of a North African kid, okay? So essentially what you had going on here is there's a 17-year-old North African kid who was driving, they said, an illegal rental car. Okay, so I think I don't know if it was stolen or illegally rented or whatever, but he was driving. The cops try to do a traffic stop. Now, in the course of this traffic stop, this kid runs a red light to try to get away from the cops. He was trying to, he's trying to flee, he's trying to avoid them. Finally, at some point, the cops managed to pull him over, stop him, okay? Now, because there was a lot of erratic behavior, obviously, he was already fleeing, he ran the red light, he was putting other people in danger, okay, already. By the time the video cuts on that everyone is pissed about, the cops have their guns drawn, they're here on the passenger side, saying, hey, stop, stop. It's being reported that the cops already said, like, stop or you're gonna get shot. Plenty of warnings were given. I think we understand the situation. Cop stopped on the side of the road. The cops have their guns drawn. Okay. So what happens next? And what happened that, everyone is mad about and they're saying was a racist killing and all of that, is that after the kid already tried to flee, ran red lights, put public safety in danger, and was warned that he was going to get shot if he did not, calm down, he starts driving away, okay? And the moment he starts driving away, one of the cops shoots him one time, point blank range. Tragically, it ended up, killing the kid, okay? So here's what the cops are saying, and here's what the left is saying, okay? So the left is obviously saying, he was fleeing, he wasn't a danger to you, But what the cops said is that, well, he was already acting erratically. And think about this. He's already acting erratically. You look at this kid's past. I know the BBC basically reported that he was a rugby player and worked a good job and he was a good kid. No. You look at the kid's past and I think you can imagine. He was quite troubled, had issues. So he's fleeing and all this stuff. Okay. So what the cops said is that they were scared he was going to try to run them over. Right? Because he's here in this car. He's already acting erratically. They have to draw the guns. Their fear was he was going to run him over. Now, what the left is saying is, obviously, that's not true because he was driving away. They had the guns here on the side of him. He was driving away. Here's my thing about that, right? Yes, perhaps that is the most likely thing he would do, but I would say there's way more than a non-zero chance that once he drives away, A, he can hit reverse. He can hit reverse and back up into the cops, or he can turn the car around and drive at them, right? And the issue with both of those scenarios is that at that point, the cops would not have a clear shot. And even if they did manage to shoot him, just acceleration, he's driving full speed. Even if you shoot him and kill him while he's in the car, right? You're still in this situation where the car can still run into you just based on the speed, right? You understand that? So as much as I know the left and the activists and all the people are pissed at this, just never understand police logistics or whatever. And for the record, I don't know the law in France or the standard police protocol in that situation. But I watched the video. I see a situation like that, especially in the context of how this kid was already acting. And I say, well, you know, is it a tricky situation? I suppose, sure. But I also fully understand why the cops did it and why the cops felt like they were in danger in that situation. Because if he's already acting erratically, he drives away in the car. You know, which by the way, I think generally speaking, if people draw their guns on you and you drive away, you are kind of in a situation where I think anyone, no matter who you are, no matter what skin color you are, you're kind of running the risk if someone draws a gun on you and you start to run. You know what I'm saying? But still, regardless, I fully understand that logic. It actually makes perfect sense to me. If the guy's already acting erratically, he drives away. Who's to say? Yeah, you're right. Who's to say he doesn't try to turn around? Who's to say he doesn't try to kill you with his car? And at that point, you don't have a clear shot, whereas when you're right here, you got a clear shot on the guy, right? And I know they might, why don't you shoot his tires, right? Because that's so easy to do, first of all, especially when he's driving away, coming back, and shooting out his tires and making the car skid everywhere. That certainly won't endanger public safety, right? There's so, and as you can tell, and as always happens in these cases, there's so many nonsense excuses and things they come up with to justify, just on the part of the criminal, on the part of the suspect, actually pretty reckless and frankly dangerous behavior on his part. So with all that said, I mean, that's my take on the actual incident that caused this. Regardless, French law, whatever, regardless of what you even personally think about it, my second question is, okay, so that's what happened. How does it justify this? Right? Regardless of what you think of the incident, you can disagree with my assessment. How does it justify burning down the nation of France? How does it justify firing rockets at innocent women and children? Well, we dig deeper and find out what their real motivation is and what's really going on here. And I think this guy's tweet sums it up actually quite perfectly. This guy posts, if France doesn't want quote-unquote immigrants, it shouldn't have colonized Algeria, which I would assume, I think, is where the kid is from, or the kid's family is from, for 132 years. So that's what this is really about. That's what these riots are really about. That's really what they're out here doing. It's really not even about this incident itself. It is about the fact that they want to punish and destroy and tear down, much like you saw in America during the 2020, a historic Western civilization, right? Now, this post itself is very interesting too, because I'm sure a lot of people are bringing up these arguments, but on this front, on the front of, oh, Algerian colonization, you know, France deserves to be burnt to the ground because France colonized Algeria. Okay, well, I'm curious on that front if Algeria will apologize to France and the Europeans for the Barbary slave trade that, according to historical estimates, this is never talked about, but you can look it up. According to historical estimates, enslaved well over 1 million European white people, right? And it was not just France that was involved. You may know more lesser known history, but the United States in the early 1800s was heavily involved in fighting these Barbary pirates. And if you actually look into the history of it, the reason why France colonized Algeria in the first place was to put a stop to Barbary slave trade of their own people and piracy, which was very rampant in the region, and some of you guys may be familiar with this. So, but yeah, folks, this sums up the French riots and sums up really what it's really about, right? It is about the punishment of Western civilization, and sadly, as you see very often, the West just sits there and takes it. You know, most civilizations have fallen very violently to conquest or revolution by their own people, I suppose. But what you're seeing here is the West is basically willingly surrendering itself, just in the name of compassion or whatever it is. And it's a sad situation to see. We are praying for France, I pray for the actual stability and prosperity of Western civilization. But it's this very sad situation where they don't even try to protect it for themselves, and yeah, I know they're sending in police and stuff to try to stop all this violence, but let's be realistic. Are all these arsonists and looters and all these people, are they ever going to be caught? For the vast majority of them that are migrants from either the Middle East or North Africa, realistically, I mean, that's what's going on here. A lot of them are refugees, asylum seekers, all that stuff. Are they going to be deported? Are they going to be jailed? Unfortunately, likely not, right? And we know that to be the case. But All right, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on the situation. Well, it is evolving. We will probably talk more about it on the show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so be sure to join us live. But yeah, pray for France, and until next time, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very good day, and peace. Hey guys, Vince Dao here. Hope you enjoyed that clip from the Vince Dao show. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And be sure to check out the Vince Dao show live every weeknight here on this channel at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It is a great show. Many are saying this. So leave a like, check out our other clips, and be sure to check out the show. God bless.